Karen built a fence on my land, then spit on the sheriff and got hauled off in cuffs. The sun hung high over Maplewood Lane, casting sharp shadows across the neat lawns of our small town. For years, my neighbor Karen and I had coexisted in uneasy peace. Her sharp tongue and relentless need for control were legendary, but I'd always shrugged it off. That is, until she built a fence 6 feet of ugly cedarite across the edge of my property. Not a word of discussion, not a hint of permission. Just the grating whine of a chainsaw one morning and a crew hammering posts into my land by noon. I'm Tom, a quiet guy who's lived here for a decade, tending my garden and keeping to myself. My property line was clear, marked by a surveyor's stake from years back. Karen knew it. Everyone did. But when I confronted her that morning, her eyes glinted with defiance. "It's my fence, Tom," she snapped, hands on hips. "Your scruffy lawn's an eyesore. I'm doing this neighborhood a favor." Her words stung, but it was the audacity, the sheer gall of claiming my land as her own that set my blood boiling. The argument escalated fast. Neighbors peeked from windows as Karen's voice rose, her accusations wild. "You're a slob, Tom. You don't deserve this land." I clenched my fists, trying to stay calm, but her words were gasoline on a fire. I called the sheriff's office, hoping for reason. Sheriff Daniels, a no-nonsense man with a graying mustache, arrived within the hour. He surveyed the fence, checked my property deed, and nodded. "Ma'am, this fence is on Tom's land. It's gotta come down." Karen's face twisted into a snarl. "You're all in on it, aren't you? Protecting this loser." She jabbed a finger at me, then at Daniels. The sheriff's jaw tightened, but he kept his cool, explaining the law. That's when Karen did the unthinkable. She spat in his face. The crowd gasped. Daniels wiped his cheek, his eyes narrowing to slits. "You're under arrest," he said, voice like steel. In seconds, Karen was in cuffs, thrashing and screaming as deputies hauled her to the cruiser. The neighborhood fell silent, save for the slam of the car door. But the story didn't end there. As the dust settled, I noticed a figure lingering by the fence. Mrs. Clara, an elderly widow who rarely spoke. She shuffled over, her eyes misty. "Tom," she said softly. "Karen's not herself. Her husband left her last year. She's been unraveling ever since." Clara's words hit like a punch. I'd been so consumed by anger, I hadn't noticed Karen's unraveling, her late-night pacing, the bottles piling up in her recycling. Clara revealed Karen had been fighting a losing battle with debt, pouring her savings into that fence as a desperate grab for control. The twist shook me. Karen wasn't just a bully. She was broken, lashing out in pain. I thought back to our early days as neighbors, her bringing me cookies when I moved in, her laughter at block parties. Had I missed the signs? Could I have reached out? The fence wasn't just about land. It was her last stand against a life spiraling out of control. Still, she'd crossed a limey line and justice had to stand. Days later, the fence came down. Karen faced charges for assaulting an officer, and whispers of her breakdown spread through town. I stood in my yard, staring at the bare earth where the posts had been. Victory should have felt sweet, but it didn't. Tasted like ash. Karen's house went quiet, her windows dark. Clara told me she'd checked into a facility, seeking help. I wanted to feel vindicated, but all I felt was hollow. The neighborhood moved on, but the scar remained. Some called Karen a villain, others a victim. I saw her as Bota woman who'd lost her way and dragged others into her storm. Her spit on the sheriff's face was a final, desperate act, but it didn't erase the pain behind it. I planted a row of flowers along the property line. A quiet gesture, hoping she'd see them one day and know I didn't hate her. In the end, the fence was gone, but the divide lingered not just between our yards, but in our hearts. Karen's story wasn't just about a boundary. It was about how far someone can fall when pride and pain collide. It made me wonder about the lines we draw, the battles we fight, and the humanity we overlook in the heat of conflict. What do you think? Was Karen a villain, a victim, or something else? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in this tangled mess of a story.